Atmospheric pressure by KayScience.com. These lines represent higher altitudes above the Earth's surface. This is a person on the ground at sea level. So they're on the ground at sea level. At sea level is where the particles are at their most dense. So the highest density of air particles are going to be found at sea level. This means there are going to be more collisions between the air particles and objects at sea level, which means that there's going to be an increased pressure, because if you increase the force acting on a surface area, that means you're going to increase the pressure. So more air particles colliding means there are more collisions between objects and the air particles. This means there's an increased force acting on the objects at sea level. So because pressure equals force divided by surface area, if you increase the force acting on an object, but the surface area remains the same, that means the pressure acting on that object will increase. So at low altitudes, where there is a higher density of air particles, the atmospheric pressure increases. It's question time. Attempt these questions to check your understanding. This person is climbing a mountain, and their altitude has increased. So the altitude is the distance they are above sea level. So as your altitude increases, the density of the particles in the air decreases. So at sea level or at lower altitudes, the air particles are more dense. Whereas at higher altitudes, the air particles are less dense. Therefore, there are fewer air particles colliding with you at a higher altitude. There are fewer air particles colliding with you at a higher altitude. So if you decrease the force due to the fewer collisions there are between you and air particles, but the surface area of you remains the same, the pressure is going to decrease. The pressure is going to decrease. So as your altitude increases, the atmospheric pressure decreases. This is an aeroplane, and at this altitude, particles are even less dense. So as you can see here, there are fewer air particles colliding. This means that atmospheric pressure decreases. So at sea level, the density of air particles is higher than at a higher altitude. As we increase the altitude, density of air particles decreases, as you can see here. So at lower altitudes, there is an increased weight due to the air particles, and at a higher altitude, there is a decreased weight due to the air particles. It's question time. Attempt these questions to check your understanding. Press pause to practice using those key words. The answers will follow. Press pause to go through your answers and make any corrections to your mistakes. Press pause to answer the questions. The answers will follow. And if you're stuck, just re-watch the video. Press pause to go through your answers and make any corrections to your mistakes.